Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CM Trading. And today is June 7, 2024, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the Nasdaq holding on to its gains and on resistance at all-time record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So at 2:30 South African time, we have that big NFP, non-farm payroll number coming out. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the major pairs really unchanged while we shift over to the indices. The Dow Jones slight gains while the Nasdaq is on its highs. Now looking at commodities, oil, gold, and natural gas all gain on the upside. Now looking at the stocks, this time it's Amazon pushing higher. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin still holding on to its resistance and does look like it wants to go higher. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now, I just want to make this point. Now, it doesn't look like a big tapering off, and it's not tapering off by a lot. It's tapering off like 15, 20 pips. But we're off of that resistance-ish level, okay? Right here at this 108.90-ish level or 109-ish level, we do have resistance. I mean, if I draw that, you could see it a little bit clearer. Okay, now if I scroll out a little bit, okay, this has been a point of contention before. Okay, it's been a point of shifting. So, one or two things. Number one, it's making higher highs, higher lows. Okay, now it didn't break it out yet, but we may see a breakout today. Okay, and if it does, it's going to clear it and might go to 109.47. That's our next resistance-ish level. Now, you'll know your levels. Okay, now if it does recede below, though, and the numbers don't come out so aggressively good, then we might see it retrace as well. So keep that in mind. Those are the two sides of this later today. Now, I just want to show you Turkish Lira this morning perking up. Okay, up again. I know it gapped up and now it's going. Question is whether or not it's going to continue going like this throughout the day. It does have some upwards point, right? It has almost 30 pips that it could go back to our all-time record lows versus the dollar. So keep that in mind as we're looking at that. Now, looking at the commodities, crude oil gets a second bounce back to that 8-day moving average. Now it's tapering off, okay, at 75.58-ish level. You could see it. It's just making a doji right here. This may be the end of the move. Usually it's a 2-day to 3-day reversal, and that's exactly what's happening here. So keep that in mind. Now looking at gold, pushed a bit higher yesterday to 23.79-ish level, even hitting 86-ish level, but that was it, and kind of tapered off. All right, so is that the end of the move? I don't know. It's been very choppy, hasn't been trading in a trend. So for those of you who like to trade gold, okay, just be very careful with it because it's just been very, very choppy. Now looking at natural gas back on its highs. This is very important because if it does break above this 287, we could see it go up higher. Now remember, we had that wedge formation last week, and now it does look like it wanted to take it out. Now let's take a look at the US markets. The Dow Jones had slight gains yesterday, back to its 200-day moving average on a 4-hour chart. If you look at a daily, it's just below that 30-day moving average, which is really super important as well. So keep that in mind. Now, looking at the Nasdaq, this is where it gets super interesting. 19,000 and above, 1988 right now, and so it's still holding on to its gains. So some of the stocks are still relatively strong, but this time it's Amazon that pushed even higher to 184. This is a major thing. Okay, it's only slightly off of its highs of about 7 points. Okay, looking at Microsoft, also continue to make a slight gain there. Looking at Facebook, didn't. Okay, so it's very stock specific. It's not all going together. And if we take a look lastly, okay, let me look for it, NVIDIA, oh boy, it took a sell-off. Not a big sell-off, but took a sell-off nonetheless. So it's off of its record highs. Now lastly, looking at Bitcoin, getting very interesting. A lot of congestion happening on this resistance-ish area. Okay, a lot of congestion. I'm talking about anywhere between 71.85 to 70-ish level. You know, it's been in this area. Now it does look like it wants to go higher. All right, if I look at a 4-hour chart, let's take a look at that. Yes, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. It's a lot of consolidation here. So with that said, keep an eye on this, because if it does pop, it can continue popping higher, and else it's at resistance. So if it does fail today with US markets getting a sell-off after this NFP, it might trickle down to Bitcoin as well. So keep that in mind. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.